Resident Evil 4 is getting a remake later this month, and in anticipation, the two of us got to talking about the original. It's been well over a year since we had our first try out Resident Evil 4, and it's safe to say a lot of things have changed since then.
Cut off your leg, cut off your leg, cut off your leg, cut off your leg, cut off your leg.
Anyways, we thought it'd be fitting to make her relive the journey to jog her memory before we get to see the world with a new coat of paint. I already made my girlfriend play through Resident Evil 4, now let's make her live through Resident Evil 4.
I have hands!
Resident Evil 4.
I'd really like to introduce her to more VR games, but wanted to start with something a little more familiar. Let's ease her into things and get some practice recording along the way. Having played this one before, she has a pretty good idea of what to expect, but adding VR to the equation shakes things up quite a bit. Even though it has the same name as Resident Evil 4, it plays like a completely different game.
And then I have to like turn myself.
There's a whole new level of difficulty added to the game by being in virtual reality. You've got a lot of advantages, yes, but simultaneously there's quite a bit of a learning curve to adjusting to using your body as a controller.
I have a knife on my boob. Shit.
Up until now, her main dive into VR has been playing Beat Saber, which is more or less just flailing her arms around. There is some thought put into making sure she slices the cubes from the correct angle, but it's a little different from finding the gun at your hip or grenade on your waist and using them to take out the not zombies.
Oh my god, I'm out of ammo. Back the fuck up. He's dead.
It's one small step for girl and one giant leap for girl kind, as we get to see a whole new level to her over-preparedness. I thought playing would be as straightforward as any other game we set her up with, but boy was I out of my element. Setting aside the hour and a half I spent trying to clear the room of anything breakable and running 1,000,001 software updates, you've got her running literal errands for this one. She's got the Dramamine and Ginger Chews ready to go, because the one boss she won't be dying to is motion sickness.
Ah, pet the dog. Bye, doggo!
When you go in, you really lose all sense of direction. A lot happens when you get into a combat encounter. Between all the shooting and running away, it's no surprise you'll lose your bearings.
Ah!
It was pretty standard for her to pop off the headset and have no clue where she was facing. So it became kind of a game for her to guess which direction she was standing when she'd come out of it.
He dead. Oh, there's like a bunch of looting. He's not dead?
We mentioned it last time she played, but she's not a big fan of scary. The tone of Resident Evil is horror, and even though she's got an idea of what's around the corner this go around, it's still eerie. Being inside of the game makes everything feel more threatening. The consequences feel more dire if you mess up because it's actually you they're coming after. She felt like the original was immersive, but you can't really get more immersed than this.
Oh, spinel. Oh my god, a spider! Oh. Worth it.
According to her, the game is much scarier in VR. As she put it, things are happening on all sides of you, and she'd kill for a rear view mirror of sorts. I can see where she's coming from because while it's frustrating to have an enemy sneak up behind you and get hit, it takes things to another level when you're the one peeking over your shoulder and catching that quick glimpse of an axe handle swinging down on you.
Shit. Shit, okay, run. Run, run, run.
Her biggest gripe from the original game was that she couldn't move and shoot. Now she's eating those words. In VR, not only can you move and shoot, but you can hold as many weapons as you have hands. Of course, there's a big difference between what you can do and what you can do.
I put in ammo.
You gotta learn to walk before you can run, and watching her navigate VR was giving me some serious toddler crawling vibes. She had the wobbly Bambi legs, and every time she bent over to pick something up, it had me get nervous she was gonna faceplant. Something she really struggled with was moving. Navigating the levels was simple enough, but whenever she'd get into a combat encounter, she'd be so fixated on reloading her gun or checking her watch, she'd forget the analog stick existed and start using her legs. As the enemies would ease up next to her, she'd subconsciously take a step back. It was around this time the two of us realized she couldn't play this game without a chaperone. If I wasn't behind her, there's a pretty good chance she might have fallen out the window. And even though he makes it look easy, my girlfriend is not equipped with Leon legs.
Oh my god, it's a long way down. Ah!
Having played the original game, she was able to appreciate the adaptation and new control scheme better. A lot of menus and interfaces are left intact from the original, but there's a lot to do with your hands now. Despite that, it's still got that familiar, nostalgic feel. I think that made it more inviting for her. I'll also add that, like all of us, she was most relieved to see that inventory Tetris was still intact.
How do I turn it? Oh, okay, exactly how you expect it to turn.
Wearing all your gear on your body was something Leon always did in the game, but now it goes beyond just being cosmetic and has functions attached to it. Knowing where to find your equipment on your body is half the battle in some encounters. Something we hadn't really considered while setting things up for her was that I was the one who calibrated the controls. Didn't really think much about it, but there's actually a big difference between the two of us. I'm left-handed. So come to find out, she's been drawing her gun from her left hip the entire game and never mentioned it was uncomfortable because she thought Leon was the lefty.
You stay here with Leon. He is better with the ladies.
Sometimes I don't deserve it.
It's my favorite thing to do. Besides all my other favorite things to do.
Like mentioned before, everything you use is on your body somewhere, and as cool as it is, it's easy to forget where things are when you're dealing with the enemies.
Shit, I forgot about my health. Okay. That's my shotgun.
You have to pick up your weapons, but dropping them on the floor will have them landing straight back in their holsters. Guns not only have to be aimed, but reloaded manually. No more pushing square and letting Leon do it for you. In fact, you are Leon now, so start acting like it.
Push. Urgh. Whoa! I just had an out-of-body experience.
Things that she probably takes a little bit for granted in games get put in the spotlight thanks to the new format. You don't have your health and ammo count in the bottom right corner like before, but now have to check a watch on your wrist. To add insult to injury, that watch is also where she's got to apply first aid spray and the like. As a side note to this, she went with the Red 9 as her main hand weapon, because girlfriend see, girlfriend do. There's a bit of a caveat to using it. If you attach the stock, it'll actually cover your wristwatch when you're holding it, which isn't something I ever noticed because I'm not entirely sure the stock does anything in VR. But let's not tell her that.
Oh. It covers my watch. This is more of a downgrade than an upgrade. One
thing I thought was funny was every time she picked up a new weapon, there'd be a practice period of learning how to reload it. And each style of weapon is more or less the same, but there are some small differences. And it's worth taking the time to learn when you don't have enemies breathing down your neck. Nothing gives you a wake-up call like getting caught in a fight, being excited to try out your new gun, and not having the first clue how to reload it.
No, not this room. Shit.
Go ahead.
Am I out of ammo?
Oh, no.
Was I out of ammo?
As you can probably imagine, ammo was thrown around rather carelessly. It's painful to watch at times, but I've gotten pretty used to her wasting resources in games. Is it really wasting them if she's having fun though? I think it'd feel less bad if more shots hit. And don't even get me started on how many times a grenade gets thrown without pulling the pin. At this point, she's watched me play this game more times than either of us care to admit, and one of the big things she always points out is how I use the knife compared to her. I'm always trying to use ammo sparingly, and the knife is a very powerful tool for taking enemies for free. Aside from having absolutely no issue dumping bullets in enemies, whenever she goes to use the knife, she always seems to stop short. Not being able to move means that by the time she adjusts, they're already getting back on their feet.
Oh, don't want to knife that.
The knife in VR changes everything. It's probably her most used and favorite weapon in the entire game. Not only can she move and slash with it, which allows her to dodge incoming attacks and get sneaky hits, but she's got no bullets to reload or barrels to pump. All you gotta do is pick it up and start playing Beat Saber with the Ganados. No villager is safe when she's got the knife in her hands. But unfortunately, neither is our furniture. Understandably, she's a major hazard when she's in knifing mode. Her swinging her arm around had me worried for the safety of our everything. At least in Beat Saber, she's facing a single direction. On top of that, it's not always safe to intervene because not only could she not hear me, but she's also running on pure girlfriend-fueled adrenaline. If I try grabbing her, I'm likely to end up getting a Leon kick right to the face.
Yeah, just holler. Poke my leg with your knee.
And with everything that sneaks up on you, it's probably safe to say that Ashley was the biggest jump scare of the entire game. You wouldn't expect her to get the jump on you so often because she's always so loud and screaming for help, but I swear she tiptoes up behind you just to freak you out.
Oh my god, every time! Jesus, okay.
I won't repeat how my girlfriend feels about her.
Did I shoot Ashley? Oh my god.
But Ashley lost even more points in this one.
Ashley, get the fuck out of the way. Oh. Ashley, girl, you need to move!
She commented how the game felt a little claustrophobic at times. She pointed out how she kept feeling like she was a giant compared to the NPCs, and not just Salazar.
No thanks, bro.
Whenever she'd go into a cave or tunnel, it felt like she was dragging her head along the ceiling. It's saying something because the two of us have gone our entire lives being taller than everybody, but it wasn't weird until it happened in a video game.
Hello down there. Oh. Like, why is she so small?
Something about picking things up with her hands really resonated with her.
Ooh, shiny.
In VR, looting becomes more satisfying, but harder to do in the heat of combat. You actually can reach down and grab the pesetas, but not if you've got a gun in your hands. Logic would suggest the best way to go about it would be to defeat the enemies first and collect the treasure after, but she's a little too greedy for that. I've never seen anything quite as absurd as her trying to aim and shoot, mind you using her non-dominant hand, while reaching down to pick up goodies. They say you miss every shot you don't take, and she took that personally.
Oh my god, if I was an egg, I would just be like farming eggs the next 2 hours. Well, I still want to a golden egg! Oh my god, okay. Gotta climb up this. Just jump down here.
Overall, playing in VR is much more personal way to experience the game. You're using your hands for much more than just shooting guns and cracking open boxes. You've got to use them to open cabinets and doorknobs or actually type on a typewriter. It takes me back to a time when my imagination would fill in all those animations for me. Such a fun and cool way to experience a world you've come to know and love. And it'll never stop being goofy watching someone else from the outside.
Oh, yo. Whee! Do I have to check first? Oh, I was just going the wrong direction.
We affectionately referred to Resident Evil 4 as the game that just keeps on coming out. It'll be interesting to see how things are different in the upcoming remake, and who knows, maybe she'll play that one someday too. Of course, she's gonna have to get in line because I'm dying to play it first. As if owning it on every system in the house wasn't enough, now we have a whole new version to buy a dozen times over. It is indeed the game that just won't stop coming out.